So from the ornament side, yes, when the prices go very high, there is obviously a tendency of the customer to be waiting and watching. Prices would fall, and then there's a tendency of correction of something possible. Trump's declarations, I think there is a lot of uncertainty in the stock markets. So what we assume is there is a lot of inflow of money into the gold market for steadiness. Government of India is buying gold to hedge against the inflation, so it's backing up its currency. I think that positive outlook should be maintained, and we should look at some long-term perspectives.
Hi, you're watching The Savera. This is Amarpal Singh before you. Trump's tariff has brought a turmoil in the global market, and for past some days we are even seeing uncertainty in the gold prices. So to understand the gold market as well as the consumer behavior, we are having a renowned businessman, Ashim Nagpal from Tanishq. So welcome sir to The Savera. So yesterday we have seen that gold prices have made a record high, and so how these prices are impacting the consumer behavior, and what are the investment strategies?
See, when we look at gold prices, we have to look at from two opinions. One side is the investment into the raw gold, and second is the investment into the required jewelry ornaments, right? So from the ornament side, yes, when the prices go very high, there is obviously a tendency of the customer to be waiting and watching. So there are a lot of customers who are waiting and watching because it's all laced with rumors that probably the prices would fall, and then there's a tendency of correction of something possible. But what we are observing is, since the last correction was done at about 8,000 rupees per gram, then I think that was the lowest which we touched, and then on the prices have been rising steadily day on day out, and now the international price is about $3,341 dollars for per troy ounce. And with Trump's declarations, I think there is a lot of uncertainty in the stock markets. So what we assume is there is a lot of inflow of money into the gold market for steadiness. There is also a very important thing which which has been highlighted, that the Reserve Bank is upping its gold reserve. So Government of India is buying gold to hedge against the inflation, so it's backing up its currency. So these are the few factors, and I see a very strong outlook towards gold, which should be in the long term should be on the rise, and I don't see any reason the customer should shy away from the market.
These high prices, they have dampened the demand of the gold as of now?
Yeah, whenever there is a sudden rise in pricing, before that new price line registers, there's always a benchmark. When it starts floating above 8,500, then 8,500 becomes a benchmark. Now it started floating above 9,000, so 9,000 has become a benchmark. So every time there's a new benchmark, now we have breached the 9,500 benchmark and moving towards 1 lakh. 10,000 rupees per gram benchmark. So that's going to be a new benchmark. So we are looking forward. We just hope, why it's for long-term perspective. It's not nice that the gold prices should rise so high, but sometimes things are beyond your control.
So considering that today we have seen a slight correction in the gold prices, so it is for short-term or it is for the long-term basis?
See, these corrections will keep on coming because there is a big bandwidth. If you see, when it's the start of the rise till the final price. So that bandwidth is about, say, 10,000 points. Sorry, 1,000 points. So 1,000 points bandwidth, it will keep fluctuating. So that will have to be accepted.
In Goldman Sachs, it has given target of 1.25 lakh per 10 grams. How you see this target, and what is your long-term outlook?
See, Goldman Sachs and other agencies are very competent to analyze such kind of projections in the market, because their projections are based on political situations all over the world, which we are not in knowledge of. In fact, we would not be able to comment rightly whether we are the right people to judge. We are only at the receiver's end. So let's be honest, we have to rely on such information and stay positive. That's all. I must say, that people, if the outlook is good, if someone tells you the business prospects are good for the following year, then better take them on board, because Goldman Sachs is a very renowned agency.
Right. So, as gold is now near 1 lakh, so earlier people used to purchase much of the gold jewelry during marriage season, and now the marriage season is coming. There are different festivals. So as of now, what is the current situation in the market?
See, people are not very upbeat because rates are prevailing very high. But there is a marriage season ahead, and there is a very strong Akshaya Tritiya we are approaching. So we anticipate a lot of products to be sold off the shelf, and most of the people who are actually, shying away from entering this market, they are definitely going to buy. So we have a very strong positive outlook for the future.
And considering the global market tensions, what kind of what are your suggestions that government should take up, and the type of negotiations in the global market should be held so that these prices or the market situation should stabilize?
See, India is a very strong consumer economy. So we have a very strong domestic consumption. Since that is available, we are not relying very heavily on exports, neither imports. So whatever we are importing, it's a non kind of tariff structure which we are importing. So if we look at America's stance, I think it will be softened slowly because the 90-day cooling off period which the President Trump has declared is going to cool off while, and probably we will settle for a very nominal kind of a tariff ultimately. So what I look at is that the stock market is also going to stabilize, and it's also showing signs of accession, and slowly it's rising every day. So we have a very strong domestic outlook. I don't know why we should be all worried about. There's nothing to worry about. It's just that these international things are ad hoc. It's more of ad hocism which is leading to such kind of fluctuations.
So at last, what is your message to the regular consumers as well as to the investors regarding this gold?
My long term, we should always look at a long term objective. Every investor should look at a long term objective. If you look at the stock market today, people would say if you are invested for 5 years, 6 years, you shouldn't be worrying. If there's a short term outlook, definitely we have at what point did we enter and what point did we exit. So I'm very sorry for certain retail investors who've lost a lot of money, but this is not what people aimed for. The entire market was designed in a fashion that it would rise steadily on some very strong economic fundamentals which our economy is based on, and I'm very sure that over a period of time people will be able to overcome this mental crisis which we are all facing, because we are in a kind of a dilemma whether we should go ahead or we should invest. So I think that positive outlook should be maintained, and we should look at some long-term perspective. So long-term perspective is a very, very solid Indian economy. I don't foresee any problem.
Thank you so much. So he is Ashim Nagpal, a renowned businessman from Ludhiana. He is from Tanishq, and he has shared valuable inputs regarding the gold prices, the present situation in the market. So you stay tuned to The Savera for more updates. Follow us both on Facebook and YouTube, and also download our mobile application. Amarpal Singh with cameraman Manoj Sidhu.